Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video, and Baby J has taken a nap, so the dad plaid is on, and I got a couple things I want to talk about today. And the first thing is that finally we are getting a rerun of an old Final Fantasy collaboration that's going to introduce these units as EX units. And we're going to start off with the Final Fantasy IV rerun for this. We're going to talk about why I think that's important, why I think we're starting with Final Fantasy IV instead of Final Fantasy Tactics, and then we're going to take a quick sneak peek at what these EX units are going to be, plus the new unit that's coming out with this collaboration. So let's get to all that right now.
阻む者には容赦せぬ。私の術を侮ってもらっては困る。耐えてみよ。遊びは終わりだ。逃げ場はない。降り注げ。
Alright, so you just saw the trailer for Golbez and the Final Fantasy IV rerun. Now, I will preview what the EX for these for the old Final Fantasy IV units, as well as what Golbez looks like here in a little bit. But I wanted to start first by talking about what the Final Fantasy IV rerun means to War of the Visions, and I wanted to give my my theory on why they aren't starting with Final Fantasy Tactics. I hope that after you watched that trailer, you came away with some similar thoughts that I did. I had two thoughts after I watched the trailer. My first thought was, oh yes, this looks cool. I really loved the Final Fantasy IV event the first time, really liked the characters that we got. I never got to get Rosa. Golbez looks really cool, so I'm excited. My second thought though was, why did they not start with 120ing our old collaboration units with Final Fantasy Tactics? In my mind, that made the most sense to be the first collaboration that they brought up to 120. Yeah, I know we got Final Fantasy XIV first, but I feel like that one's been written off. I feel like the Final Fantasy XIV event can just be summed up in how good Thancred's Limit Break is. You know what I mean if you know. But the real first collaboration we got that I thought was pretty successful was Final Fantasy Tactics. We all want EX Orlando and EX Ramza and Agrius, and I want Meliadul and other tactics units introduced to the game, and I do think that will come. However, in my mind, Final Fantasy Tactics, that rerun, that bump to EX levels for, Orlando and gang, is going to be so big, I actually think that they are going to be saving that for the first wave of EX sub-jobs, right? Whenever we get level 125 or 130 units unlocked, I think they will bring the tactics units right about that time and let that be kind of our first wave. Let that be our first collaboration rerun and maybe make it a whole event. Now, I don't have any insider info here, right? I am just purely speculating, but tactics is probably one of the biggest reasons a lot of us play War of the Visions, so I think it makes sense to use that one as the transition to the next big power spike in the game, because we are getting kind of close to getting all the units to 120. We're starting to catch up, and within 4 or 5 months, maybe we'll be done 120ing all our old level 99 units and be ready to introduce the next level increase. So I think they're saving tactics for that, in which case starting with Final Fantasy IV makes a lot of sense, and I'm excited to get Final Fantasy IV again. Now, a couple things. One, big shout out to Akito for translating things from the JP to English, and there's a Reddit thread. I'll link that Reddit thread. That's where I'm getting a ton of the information in my little preview section here from. And I know I don't do a lot of JP news on my channel because it's just not how I roll. I like to cover the global version of the game almost exclusively, or at least cover the JP stuff right before it comes out to global. But this is an actual Final Fantasy mainline series rerun where we're getting EX jobs for some of these units. It's big news, and I did want to do my reaction to it and give a slight preview. Obviously, I will do an in-depth preview of all of the units when we can see what they're going to be like and when they're coming to global. But let's jump to a little bit of a preview of what we're getting right now. Okay, we're going to start with Golbez, the new unit coming to the game with this event. And, it's not a surprise. He's going to be a mage. We fought him in the first run of this event. He was a mage there. He's a mage. It makes sense he's going to be a mage in this game. So, he does AoE damage. Think like Black Rose Helena, although we don't know if he'll be as strong as Black Rose Helena, but he is a dark unit mage, so it makes sense that he would, be a good teammate for somebody like Black Rose Helena. We got a little bit of preview of his skills, so let's check out what those are. If you start with that bottom left skill there, I believe that translates to something like Abyss Quasar. Again, big shout out to Akito for providing these translations. I am not translating them myself. So, it is a large damage, small AoE attack. It has a chance of silencing, and in fact, it does bonus damage. If the units that it hit have Spirit Down, Poison, Paralysis, or Poison, Disable, or Silence. So, does large damage, and it does more damage if they're affected by one of those status effects. A pretty cool move. The top right ability there translates into Black Fangs. It is a medium damage attack with Spirit Down, and you can see it has that nice big AoE on it, so there's a big AoE that he can bring. Medium damage and lowering Spirit before it hits means it'll hit pretty dang hard. That's a good move. Then the bottom right might be like the coolest move that he has. It is a shield, it's called Dark Barrier, and it allows him to absorb some of the damage that he does as health back to himself. So that's the preview of his kit. He looks to be a pretty strong mage. Obviously, we won't know how good or bad he is until he comes out. But if you're a Black Rose Helena player, like, basically everyone in the game who has her is, this could be a really good teammate for her. And it might bring, Dark Resist into the game, because it seems like both these units might be hard to resist with Spirit or Magic Resist. So maybe Dark Resist could be a way to fight like Golbez Black Rose Helena teams, the real enemies of War of the Visions right there. Okay, but that's not all. We got a look at what the new EX jobs are gonna at least look like for the old units. So let's go with Cecil first. Now, if we look at his abilities, his new job level 25 ability that's in the bottom left there is called Reward of the Light. Increase his own defense penetration rate for 3 turns, and then deals 2 hit large damage to target, and the damage will go up based on how low his HP is. This fits perfectly into his kit and really fits his theme. It's a multi-hit attack, something he was really good at for like light chaining teams in PvE. It does damage, and this guy hurts himself to be a support so that the damage scales with the amount of HP he's missing. Makes sense. This could be a really hard hitting attack. Then his upgraded skills in the top right there, that is going to be Blood of the Lunarians, changing into those who count the blue stars. Maybe it'll be called that in global as well. I don't know. They translate things kind of weird. But this is a self-only buff that increases his HP and his own defense. The upgrade is his defense is getting more of an increase. So that's cool. It turns him into a little bit more of a bruiser. Then on the bottom right there, that is Devoted Defense. That's the shield that he casts on the group. In my mind, the signature move of Cecil. And it is getting upgraded. It gets another cast, and when he casts it, he doesn't hurt himself as much as he used to. Because previously, he would give people this shield, and if he had to especially give it out twice, he was almost dead, but it hurt him so much. So it's kind of cool to see that that move is getting an upgrade, because that's my favorite move that Cecil has. And I'm just going to say, of the upgrades, Cecil is the one I'm looking forward to the most. He was my favorite collaboration unit from the Final Fantasy IV event, and I think I might be the only one. I think most people liked Kain the most, but I was a big Cecil fan. Okay, Rosa, the unit I was not able to invest in back in Final Fantasy IV, because, believe it or not, I didn't always used to be a content creator who, had all these Amazon coins. I had to skip stuff back in the day, and Rosa was a skip for me. But she is getting a little bit of a hookup here with her EX upgrade. So first of all, her new ability, straightforward, she's getting full life. I think this is a great addition to her kit. If you want her to be a good supporter for you, having full life really adds to her her repertoire of skills. Her top right skill there, Pure Prayer, is getting upgraded. Effect raises healing power and spirit of allies centered around herself, and nullifies poison, frostbite, disable, blind, silence, paralyze, confusion, stop, stun, and disable. Think something like Mashari's Calamity Guard, but it's Rosa's version of that, which is a pretty dang good move. Now, the upgrade here is healing power up and raising spirit of allies for 3 turns. is the change, right? And that it nullifies stun and disable is not something that it used to do before. Plus, it's also getting another use. So a pretty dang good skill there that can also be good in PvE. If you think back to, gosh dang it, I can't remember what event it was, but there's been a really hard PvE fight in this game that is just escaping my mind, where you literally needed like Calamity Strongguard from Macherie to clear it. This could be a buff that would help with something like that in the future. Then her bottom right, Prayer, is getting upgraded. So, okay, effect, recovers target's HP medium and bestows shell that reduces magic damage for 3 turns. The changes, the upgrade is it's gaining +1 range. Shell is also something new being added to the skill, and it is no longer a casting time ability. So no cast time, it now adds shell and has 1 more use. That's a really good healing / buff move. And Rosa's getting a bit of a hookup. Like, I would be curious to see if maybe I want to invest in her when this rolls back around, but we got a long time in global to worry about that. All right, next up, it's our boy Kain, a guy who brought this guy, let's be real, like, as much as I want to say Eileen brought piercing to global, Kain was really the guy back in the day who got us off of everybody using slash attackers like Orlando and brought piercing into the meta. He changed the game in a big way. So what are they doing for him? Well, let's take a peek at what his upgrades are going to be. His new job level 25 ability, Ceiling Dive, significantly lowers reaction ability activation rate, then deals medium damage to targets within range after the jump delay. Damage is damage increment if target has AP recovery, healing power down, slow, or confused. So if someone has bells active on them, this will hit them harder. That's kind of cool. Like, it's like an anti-bells move. Okay, I dig that. It also lowers healing power, lowers their chances of proccing their reaction ability, and does more damage if they have slow or confuse on themselves. So that's pretty neat. Seems like a good move, right? AoE hitting, jumping move, fits Kain's kit pretty well. Okay, the top right skill, Pride of the Dragoons, is getting an upgrade. So, effect, significantly increases own attack and raises own defense penetration rate and acquired AP up, lowers own defense. The change here is that defense penetration and AP up are new. It did the other 2 things before, gave him attack and lowered his own defense. Now it also gives him defense pin and acquired AP up. Defense pin's really nice and acquired AP is really nice. So that's a good upgrade. Okay, the bottom right, Dragon Raid is turning into Dragon Raid Kai, deals large damage to target after jump delay and removes courage and reduces healing power for 3 turns. The change there is the courage / guts removal and the reduced AP consumption. So that's pretty neat. Like, it's another way of taking the courage buff off of a target. This is really dang useful for a DPS class. And it costs less than it used to. These are really nice upgrades for Kain. It seems like he might not require bells. And he's somebody in the past who you needed some kind of AP regeneration on him, I think. So at least now with all his like reduced AP costs, maybe you don't need it so much anymore. We'll see. That's the preview for the Final Fantasy IV units that are coming out. And that's going to do it for this video. Pretty short. I just wanted to like kind of build the excitement for this a little bit because it's something I'm really looking forward to, and I wanted to talk about my little my theory for Final Fantasy Tactics and why we're getting 4 before Tactics. So let me know if you have a thought on that too. I'd be curious to hear why you think it's going in this route. But I if you've been on my streams, I've had kind of a sneaking suspicion that they were saving Tactics for a big moment in the game. So I'm going to stick to my guns there. Maybe I'll be right, maybe I'll be wrong, maybe I'll look like an idiot, which is not the first time that will have happened to me. There you go. So I'm pretty dang excited for Cecil, you guys. I really used him a lot back in the day, and I think myself and the other people who used him really liked him, so I'm really pumped for that. All right, I'm rambling. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Peace.